Alycats and new viewers. So today I'm bringing you my October 2017 reading wrap up. I managed to read 5 novels this month, which is a little under my average, but that's perfectly fine. If you'd like to read the written reviews that I posted on my blog about these books, I'll have those links in the description box down below. But let's get started with the books. The first book was Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro, and I didn't love this book. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. And I think one problem might have been that I had seen the film when it came out in 2008, I believe. So I knew what was going to happen, but the writing just didn't compel me. I didn't really like any of the characters besides Tommy. I wanted to give him a big hug because he just reminded me of myself and so many people I know. The mystery of the novel, like I said, was ruined for me by the movie. But I feel like the movie told the story so much better than the actual book did. And please don't massacre me if this is your favorite book of all time or one of your favorite books, because I know a lot of people think this book is a masterpiece, it's their favorites, and that is perfectly fine. I just didn't connect with this book. I found the writing just to be kind of bland. But like I said, I didn't hate this book, and it's so hard to talk about because I didn't love this book, but I didn't hate it. It was just a 3 out of 5 star read for me. There just wasn't any magic for me with this book. It's not a bad book, it just didn't connect with me personally. So this is sadly going to go and find a better home, which is not really that sad. But Never Let Me Go, I'm letting you go. Now the next book I read was The Fifth Petal by Brunonia Barry, and I didn't realize this was the 2nd or 3rd, I can't remember, novel in a series, but this completely stands on its own. This takes place in Salem, Massachusetts, and there are 2 different timelines. One timeline is set in the 80s and follows a murder case, and the other timeline is set in 2014 and follows a young woman who was involved in the murder case and her aunt who is also a part of that case. And these 2 timelines correlate, and there's just a really twisty mystery involved, and it's really spooky. It deals with witchcraft, obviously, because it's set in Salem. And it was just really well done, and it was so good that I want to read the other 2 novels in the series. And I really love the eclectic cast of characters, the atmosphere, everything about this book, pretty much. There are a couple of things that just kind of didn't mesh well, but overall I really enjoyed The Fifth Petal, and I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I'm usually not a fan of YA contemporary, but I loved The Fault in Our Stars, and I really wanted to read Turtles All the Way Down because I had read and heard from John on his channel that it was about mental illness, and I freaking adored this book pretty much. I love the character of Asa Holmes. Asa deals with OCD and anxiety, and I felt like John Green somehow looked into my mind and saw my thoughts and my processes and put them on the page. And I really connected with Asa. I loved that she had a friend that was so into Star Wars and wrote fan fiction about it. And I loved her group of friends, and I just found it really compelling. It was a quick read. The only thing I didn't really enjoy about this book was the mystery that was thrown in. It just felt like it was, you know, thrown in. Like, it was introduced and then it kind of just disappears. And it's just like, why was this in here? There really isn't a point to it, in my opinion. I couldn't see the point. Maybe someone else can tell me what the point of the mystery was. But I did overall enjoy this book, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The 4th book I read was Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. And overall, really enjoyed this. This is a science fiction novel, and it's formatted in an interview style, so it's a really quick read. And it's about how this young girl one day is riding her bike, she falls off her bike and wakes up in the hand of a giant robotic arm. And then the story fast forwards several years later, and she is still intrigued by this robotic arm, and she and a group of specialists are trying to find the other pieces of the robot. And it was just a really fascinating concept. This does definitely feel like an origin story, and this is the first book in a series. So there is a lot of setting up of the plot, and the characters themselves aren't likable, but they're intriguing. So that was okay with me, because if characters are intriguing, I don't have to like them, and that's what this book does really well. Because you don't really like any of the characters, but they're really intriguing to read their stories and see their personalities. I also really love the science fiction aspect of this novel, even though since it is an interview format, you're not really getting like super heavy into what is actually going on. You're just seeing people's points of view. But I found it really interesting, and I do want to continue the series, so I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. And the last novel I read was a masterpiece, and that is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. This is the 10th novel in the Hercule Poirot series, which I have not read any of the other novels in this series, but this stands on its own. I wanted to read this before the film adaptation came out, and this is just how you write a mystery. Agatha Christie is the queen of mystery for a reason. This book had me constantly scratching my head, wondering who committed the crime. I loved all the characters. They're all very eccentric, and they all have different motivations and alibis, and I just freaking adored this novel. I highly recommend it to everyone, especially if you're a fan of mysteries and thrillers, because it's just so original and well done. And it's written so well, and it actually has a lot of French in this novel, which I'm currently learning French, so that was an excellent way for me to learn new words and phrases, and I actually had to look up how to pronounce these words and what they meant, so it was educational too! So I gave this novel 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it, and I definitely want to read more Agatha Christie after this, and I'm super duper pumped for the movie that's coming out really soon. So those were all the novels I read in the month of October. Let me know what you read down below in the comment box. And if you liked this video, leave a like, share the video if you liked it because that helps my channel grow. If you're not subscribed already, but you like what you've seen and heard, hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so you'll be alerted every time I upload a new video or start a new live stream. And if you'd like to follow me on social media sites or check out the written reviews for these books, all those links are in the description box down below. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and kisses. Bye. Sing me a song of a lost that is gone. Oh, hey, you're still here. What a crazy random happenstance. Well, since you just caught me singing and reading off guard, you might as well click on my floating face that will appear over here soonish and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you'd like to see my previous video, it will be up here somewhere. And if you'd like to see a playlist of videos that you can watch on repeat all day, every day, for the rest of your life, you'll find that over here as well. I'm going to go back to reading my favorite book of all time. Okay, you can go now because I'm really deep into a Jamie Fraser plotline.